And so now we'll introduce the Honorable Curtistene Smith McCowan. Mayor McCowan was elected as the 21st mayor of DeSoto and the first woman to hold the office in 2016. She has served on the DeSoto City Council since May 2012, serving 2 of those years as the mayor pro tem. Prior to winning the seat on the city council, she served 5 years on the DeSoto Economic Development Corporation, where she held the position of internal audit chair. She was vice president and served 4 of those years as president. She sits on a litany of committees and boards, and she was the first African-American elected to public office in the city of DeSoto. That deserves a round of applause. When I think of Mayor McCowan, I am reminded of an old gospel song by the Clark sisters. And that song has a refrain that says, "Am I living in vain?" And then it goes on to say, "Am I praying in vain?" And then it says, "Am I fasting in vain?" And Mayor McCowan, you know, she told me a story a while ago where she was sitting in the regional transportation meeting, and she kept just showing up. She wasn't on the board just yet. They would have these meetings, and Mayor McCowan wanted DeSoto to be a part of that conversation. So she went to one meeting, then she came back for a second meeting, then she came back for a third meeting, and a 4th meeting. And when you think about Mayor McCowan, she's someone who expects DeSoto to have a seat at every table. Not just some tables, but every table. And come about the 5th meeting, the mayor of Cedar Hill came there and said, "You know, you show up to these meetings, maybe you should be the alternate." And she kept coming, and kept coming, and kept coming. And eventually, she earned a seat for the city of DeSoto on that regional transportation board. That's the type of fighter that we want in our mayor. And so if you're here tonight, we got a lot of work to do to make sure that Mayor McCowan is reelected in May 2018. And we're gonna get it done. The reason we are is because when you ask the question, is she living in vain? Is she praying in vain? Is she fasting in vain? I heard the answer. The answer is of course not. Because when Rachel Thomas talked about getting those scholarships with the concerned DeSoto citizens, that's Mayor McCowan not living in vain. When you see that academy at the high school, that's Mayor McCowan not living in vain, always fighting for DeSoto. And so it gives me a great privilege. And I'm no stranger to young people getting involved and trying to run for public office. I'm an advocate of it. But I also know that there is a time for trusted, bold leadership that's proven. And right now, that time is for Mayor Curtistene Smith McCowan. Let's give her a round of applause.